Good day, dear students. In the previous class, we have seen how Laura's storytelling continues, and quite by accident, she uses the term scold. Hamlet entered his mother's room and started scolding her as to why she did in this manner and why did she not wait for some time after the death of his father to get married. So he is in a way confronting his mother. And the accident use of the term scold had a lot of repercussions because, as you will read in pages 70 and 71, you find that there was a shocked murmur from all the listeners, both old and young. They were all shocked, and there was a shocked murmur from all the listeners because they had listened to the last part of the narration. And I hope you remember the last part of the narration, and that is Hamlet started scolding his mother for what she had done. And the reasons for this shocked murmur is indeed something not just one reason, it was a shocked murmur from all listeners. The first reason is that a man should never scold his mother. Of course, we know that a man should never scold his mother. Second reason is that Laura's translation turns the sword into a mache and he kills Polonius. This is again another term, another difference. The first reason for the shocked murmur is that a man should never scold his mother because scolding his mother or any elder or taking actions against any elder is something forbidden in the tribe. It is not. It's just not done. And so they were really shocked by the term scold had really shocked them, and so they can really translate that term into their language, and it's just not done in their community. So it is an entirely different thing to scold his mother and in the household of a Western country, but it is not just done in that particular community. So Laura's translation, Laura also uses the word instead of a sword. Instead of the sword, he just used that sword at the shaking curtain and killed Polonius accidentally. She uses the term mache to kill Polonius. Okay, it's again another difference. About Polonius, there was a general disgust from older men. All the older men of the group were generally disgusted by the way Polonius tried to hide in the hut of the queen, and that was just not done. Laura suddenly remembered that her listeners are good and enthusiastic hunters because this is also the reason why these old men were disgusted by the appearance of or the hiding of Polonius in the room. And the reason is that this group of listeners, they are good and really enthusiastic hunters. At the first rustle in the grass, an arrow is aimed and it is made ready. And then the hunter shouts, "Game!" He just shouts this word. And if there is no human voice answering back, then they will know that it is an animal and the arrow will speed on its way. This is how they usually hunt. So here you find that Polonius was hiding, and when, like a good hunter, Hamlet had shouted, "A rat!" And this term, a rat, has got a lot of connotation in Shakespeare's Hamlet. But here, like a good hunter, to the situation, it is like this Hamlet shouts, "A rat." And the man who is hiding, Polonius, should have answered. When there was no answer coming back, Hamlet used his sword or mache as she had as she had translated that term sword because they do not, the community just do not use sword, but mache they really use. So here they get the arrow ready, and when there is no answering for for their shout coming in the form of a human sound, They knew that it is an animal and immediately sends the arrow, and the arrow finds its focus or its target. And this is how Hamlet accidentally killed Polonius. And the reason why there was a general disgust from the old men, because Polonius, while hiding, knew that he was in danger and he should have called out and could have avoided his death. This is why they feel that he is a person who is not at all wise, and this is why there was a general disgust from the old men. And Hamlet, being a hunter, he knows the terms or even the rules of hunting, so he called out a rat, like the game. He called out a rat. And even at that time, Polonius should have made some sound or call out that he was hiding there, but he didn't. And so he was killed. So again, you find cultural variations here. And though Laura rushed in to save Polonius' reputation, she just couldn't find the right translation as to why Hamlet didn't kill his uncle. So she tried to save Polonius' reputation, saying that he is a good person, but it just cannot be saved because of the way he behaved, hiding and not calling out when Hamlet calls out a rat. Okay, and then again, Laura just couldn't find the right translation as to why Hamlet didn't kill his uncle. Because you find that Hamlet's uncle was praying. And as I've told you earlier, or in the class where you get the story of Hamlet, if you read those notes or the summary of the different acts, 5 acts, you will find that his uncle was at his prayers, and Hamlet had tried to come to kill the uncle, but then he thought that if the uncle is praying, then when he is killed at that time, he will go directly to heaven, and that will not do. He has to go through punishment, and it will not be done. And so Hamlet did not kill his uncle, and Laura just cannot translate this reasoning to the group because one reason, praying and believing in God in that manner is quite something that the group just do not know. Shakespeare's Hamlet found his uncle praying, so didn't kill him. So this kind of reasoning is just not done in that community. The one reason is that here, the one reason is that they just do not kneel and pray, and these people are just pagans. So, this is why Laura just cannot translate those reasons to them. How can these pagans understand his motive? Laura wondered. The audience was shocked by this turn of events because why did he not kill, or why did he try to kill his uncle? The audience was shocked by this turn of events. So here, earlier you have found the disapproval of the audience, both young and old, when she used the term scold. Hamlet scolding his mother, and the audience was shocked by this turn of events. That is, Hamlet trying to kill his uncle. Okay, and their reasoning is this: how can Hamlet raise his hand or even try to kill or raise his hand against his father's brother and the one who has become his father? By marrying his mother, he has become the father to Hamlet. And how can he raise his hand or even try to kill him? And this just cannot be done. The father's brother had done something great and had adopted the family, and so he's getting a father. And how can he ever do that? The elders were watching, and they were emphasizing this point to the young listeners of the group, saying that this just cannot do. How can Hamlet raise his hand against his father's brother and the one who has become his father? So this just cannot be done. And it is a great warning to the youngsters of the group. They are again emphasizing the point that this attitude or this just cannot be done. But poor Laura is in a situation because how can she continue with the story if there is no trying to kill, or if Hamlet just do not kill the uncle as instructed by his father's ghost. So justifying Hamlet's action, Laura points out that his uncle had killed his father. Okay, his father was killed by his uncle. So Laura says that Hamlet ought to kill his uncle. It is only right that his father's soul should be avenged. And in a way, Laura points out this reason to the listeners. But the response of the old man was for Laura as well as to the young men sitting behind the elders, because the old man is, in a way, giving instructions to the young men of the group, and they are also listening. They are sitting behind the elders. The way it is arranged is elders first and the youngsters after that, and it is a warning to the youngsters of the group. And the response of the old man was that he should have, that is, Hamlet should have appealed to his father's age mates. If his father was killed by his uncle, then Hamlet should not raise his hand against his uncle, but he should have appealed to his father's age mates, means father's friends. Again, a lesson from this: no man may use violence against his senior relations. No man may use violence against his senior relations. This is another lesson the old man is now teaching the young men sitting behind the elders. So here you find that Laura just cannot continue with this kind of storytelling. But here you find that the old man had further response. But if it so happens that his uncle had wickedly bewitched Hamlet and made him mad, so uh, he says that if it so happens that his uncle had wickedly bewitched Hamlet and made him mad, then if Hamlet kills him in his madness, it is justified. So Laura had told him that Hamlet's uncle had killed his father, and only natural that the son should be angry and take revenge on his uncle. And she was interrupted by the old man, and he emphasized the point that no man may use violence against his senior relations. That tribe can survive only with that. Otherwise, all the youngsters will be taking arms and fighting against the elders, and this won't do. And so theirs is a small community, and they don't have much people there, and they don't want quarrel of violent quarrel in their midst. And so this rule is one of the rules that has been instilled into the youngsters from the very young age. But the old man says if somebody kills your father, then uh, this is he must first appeal to his age mates, and then if his uncle had wickedly bewitched Hamlet, means Hamlet is now pretending to be mad, and Hamlet is, they believe that Hamlet is mad, so his uncle, that is the male relative, had bewitched or used witchery or bewitched Hamlet and made him mad, then in his madness, if Hamlet kills his uncle, it is justified. So there is a solution for that. So if Hamlet kills his uncle, then it is okay if this uncle had made him mad by using witchery. Okay, this is something that is acceptable to the tribe, and they have come across people who had gone mad because a male member of their clan had, or their relation had made that person mad, because witchery can be used by a male relative, and if, from that madness, if that madman kills the uncle, then it is justified. Okay, so this is the way in which the story goes on. The great chief was not sorry that Hamlet killed Polonius, because even though he had sent Polonius to spy on Hamlet and Gertrude, he was not at all sorry, because this is just one person off. He chooses Hamlet's age mates, and sent him, that is Hamlet, to a far country with letters instructing the chief of the country to kill Hamlet. So you will find Hamlet's friends accompanying him on his journey to a far country, and his uncle had sent him with his age mates. And Hamlet knew that there is something fishy, something not right, and so he read the letter that was with them. And in the letter, the king, the great chief, had instructed the king of the far country to kill Hamlet. So Hamlet, who is very clever, changes the writing in the paper and gets his two treacherous age mates killed instead. So instead of asking the king to kill Hamlet, he just cut off certain words and reshaped it, and the letter was sent to them, sent with them, and he returns back, and the two age mates get killed. So in a way, his uncle knew, that is, the great chief knew that Hamlet is out to take revenge on him. So he's trying in one way or the other to get Hamlet killed. And this is the manner in which he is doing it. And so here you find that his uncle is indeed a great wicked chief. And so there is nothing, there is no other side to it. And the community or the listeners, the story listened by the group really understands that this man is really wicked. He had made Hamlet mad, and he had killed Hamlet's father, and so in a way, his the points against the great chief is increasing. So this again, that is trying to kill Hamlet, and Hamlet changing his destiny by changing the content of the letter is again something that they relished, a good story. And so here you find that Hamlet is getting the upper hand, but he is contributing to the general toll of the dead people. A number of people gets killed, and that too quite harmlessly. Harmless people like Polonius and two of his friends, but even then there is a reason behind it, and this is why you will find that Hamlet's indecision has caused the death of a lot of people, and it causes tragedy. So here you find that Shakespeare's storytelling is acceptable to the group to a certain extent, but mainly they need clarification, and for that they are asking Laura about it, and they contribute their reasoning. And so Laura sometimes had to go back in storytelling or get stuck with the storytelling and find a new way of presenting or translating the story of Shakespeare into their cultural context and continue narration. If she continues narration in that manner, then it is all right. It goes smoothly. That's why she had contributed more terms to age mates instead of friends, and these are the terms that she had used. And instead of a sword which they have not seen, she contributes the term that they are familiar with, the weapon that they are familiar with, and so on. It continues. So this kind of storytelling is in a way taking Shakespeare's Hamlet from its cultural context to the bush or to the context of the people of that bush, and this in turn is changing the storyline, totally changing the storyline to a great extent. And this is exactly what you will have to notice about the lesson, how the story takes a different change and how it is done by the constant questions and clarification, and the proven fact with the cultural context, the practices of that particular group, and the total ignorance of Shakespeare's court or even the Elizabethan court. All these are changed, and the clash is in a way averted by the constant fielding by Laura and also by the old man. So here you find that The in the bush, people appreciate Hamlet or Shakespeare's work Hamlet with a lot of changes and with a lot of clarification. And these clarifications are provided by Laura, who had learned the language, and along with the storytelling, she is also getting a lot of information for her research work, like the creatures lurking in the forest and creating madness in the people, and the male member of the family bewitching the people and making them mad. Two causes of madness. There is no psychiatrist, there is no reasoning of treatment, there is nothing. And these are the ways in which they work, and she is studying their culture, and this is part of that study. That's why she is there. And she was not getting enough information when the storytelling starts. So the storytelling also helps her to gather facts. She is a researcher first and foremost, and looks on the words and the information from the people, and jots it down and questions them and gets more information, and thus continues with her work. Thank you, and we'll continue. We'll conclude it in the next class, and I hope you will go through the lessons thoroughly and enjoy the lesson as well. Thank you.